The six-time world champion New England Patriots.
Edelman's going to throw.
The quarterback's arm.
Let's go. Intercepted.
Oh, somehow they blew the coverage.
Oh, that's a catch.
Hello, Super Bowl.
We are all Patriots. And tonight,
Patriots are Super Bowl champions. The Patriots are Super Bowl champions.
All right, and welcome into the first episode of the Pats Pack podcast. I am here, Mr. Fenton, as always, with my good friend Josh Valadola. Josh, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm good, dude. Thought about starting something new. Decided to start this podcast. You know, I'm still keeping the other one going, but you know what? You got to keep on keeping on. You know what I mean? So I think Josh is actually going to be on here with me more times than not. We're going to kind of do a bunch of different things. We're going to kind of recap the game. We're going to preview the game, upcoming game. I think we're actually going to try to do some different episodes. Like today, we're going to do the recap and the preview both in one episode, but I think we're going to try to split that up into two different ones just so it flows a little bit better. Off-season stuff, you definitely want to stick around. We'll have like some free agency stuff. There's some draft stuff, salary cap stuff, a bunch of exciting things that you guys don't want to miss, so make sure you like and subscribe. But anyway, let's get into this game. We're going to start off with the Titans game, recapping that. Final score, Pats 36, Titans 13. Over cashed. Over under was 43. New England covered. Spread was 7.5. Josh, taking anything away here off the jump?
Honestly, just really proud of the team performance. Great job by the defense. And I don't know, I'm really excited for the future games, especially the big Bills games coming up.
I'm interested to see if they can actually beat a real team because, you know, last 5-6 games, everyone's talking about this big winning streak they got. Really not overly impressed. You beat the Jets, you beat the Chargers. I'll give them that. Go into Los Angeles and give them a win. Carolina, okay. Sam Darnold still seeing ghosts. Cleveland, Baker Mayfield's a cripple. Going into Atlanta on a short week. Matt Ryan's literally got no one to throw to. And then this banged up Tennessee team. So I'm really excited for this Monday night game coming up. Inactives for this Titan games, we had Stidham, Taylor, Asiasi, Durant, and Ronnie Perkins, the red shirt freshman himself. On the Titan side of the ball, we had Nate Davis, Adeni, Tart, David Long Jr., Rashawn Evans, Greg Mablin, and of course we had Julio, AJB, and Derrick Henry out on IR. The Titans actually had 13 roster moves Thursday alone. How are you feeling if you're a Titans fan right now? Because this team is really banged up.
It's definitely like a lot of devastation just because, you know, you don't want to lose these games anyway, but I think they're looking at the long run, you know, when Derrick Henry comes back.
I think that's what they really need to get back here. But
because that's their identity.
At the same time, yeah, he really makes that team go because imagine just having Derrick Henry in the backfield, and then you just take that away and you put in one of these backups that they got in there. Like, Derrick Henry is not anywhere near
Dontrell Hilliard.
Imagine that, like, replacing Derrick Henry with Dontrell Hilliard or Deontay Foreman. The two don't even compare. Like, well, apparently in this one it did because they both rushed for over 100 yards, but I'm not bitter, you're bitter. You know what I mean? Some stats here. Time possession. Titans outweighed the Pats actually 31-02 to 28-58. Offensive plays, Titans outsnapped the Pats 62-52. Yards, Pats actually had more yards, 394 compared to the Titans 355. Penalties, Pats had 4 for 35. Matt Judon had 2 of those actually. Titans had 5 for 50. No turnovers on the Pats side. Titans had 3 fumbles and a pick. First downs, Pats 23. Titans 18, and on an efficiency standpoint, the Pats were actually 4 for 10 on third down, while the Titans were 5 for 11 on third down and 1 for 3 on fourth down. Anything you want to take away from that?
I'm just remembering that one particular third down and a half. Hilliard to the house.
We'll get to that in a minute. I don't even want to talk about that. That shouldn't have happened.
Painful.
It didn't happen. Not a good idea.
You can blame McCourty for that.
Yeah. On the passing side of the ball, start that off. Mac Jones, 23 of 32 for 310 yards and 2 tutties. Obviously, Kendrick Bourne was really responsible. Ran a great route on that first one and really just, I don't even think I need to say anything for that second one he caught. Really just took the realm. That stiff arm got into the end zone on that one. 72% completion percentage, 9.7 yards per attempt, QBR of 123.2. On the Titan side of the ball, Tannehill, oh boy, he had a rough day. 11 for 21, 93 yards, a touchdown, which really was very ugly. As soon as Westbrook caught the ball, he just decided to fall, and I had to roll into the end zone. Completion percentage, only 52% of his passes completed. Yards per attempt, 4.4, and a QBR of 60. Anything you want to take away from this?
I don't know. I guess it's definitely obviously not Ryan Tannehill's best performance, but I think that's just that's attributed to them being a run first team. So they're still kind of trying to survive these games.
Yeah, I feel like they're having a little bit of difficulty kind of finding their identity because imagine you have Derrick Henry, who is just not human. Like you can't create someone in Madden that looks like him. You got that, and then you say you're playing without AJ Brown and Julio Jones. Automatically, I don't care who you're putting back there. That's a tough task to overcome.
Yeah. Well, pretty much as long as Derrick Henry's been a Titan, that's been their identity.
Yeah, and
So
it's
how
probably
many
going to
years
stay
has
that
been?
way.
Yeah.
I feel like, who was I saying this to? I feel like he's going to have almost like a Bo Jackson ending to his career where he just gets hit and just dies. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but I could definitely see that
That would
happening.
surprise me. Year in and year out, he leads the league in carries and just touches in general.
Definitely do not shy away from that usage. That is 100% for sure. Personally, going back to the pass side of the ball here in the passing game, I really didn't think Matt looked that good in this one. I know he had 310 yards and 2 touchdowns. The completion percentage is a little bit inflated, but of those 32 pass attempts, 22 were actually 10 yards or less. He continues to dink and dunk. I really don't think he looked that great overall. He missed Hunter Henry on a wide open 30-yard. Like, I started Hunter Henry. Thanks a lot, Mac. I really hope you're watching this because I'm a little upset because I really needed that touchdown, and he didn't serve me too well overall. But what do you think about his performance in this one?
Mac or Hunter Henry?
Mac.
Oh, Mac. It's all right. It's kind of like a game manager-esque performance.
That's what I've been saying. I feel like he is the best game manager in the league right now, significantly. And it's
going to run first team.
That's what I mean. Like, he's just doing whatever it takes to win, which I understand. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to a point where it's like, all right, we're going to need this kid to win us a game, whether that's this upcoming week or whether that's in a month or whether that's next year. And obviously, he's a rookie. I'm not trying to, come down too hard on him because he is definitely the best rookie so far because everyone else seems a little bit lost, which I don't think is necessarily the other rookie's fault because, in Trevor Lawrence's case, you got Urban Meyer, rookie head coach, who's a mess, Matt Nagy, who's probably out of town sooner rather than later. A lot of these guys, Trey Lance isn't even playing, so you can't really say too much about him. But a lot of these guys really just don't. They're just not ready. And I feel like Mac's doing a really good job overall, but he's a game manager at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Moving on to the Titans passing game here. Not a lot to take away in this one. Nick Westbrook, 5 targets, 2 catches, 25 yards, and a touchdown. Literally one of the worst routes I've ever seen run in my entire life. Literally caught the ball, and you thought they were trying to kick a field goal to end the half. Just immediately falls to the ground, rolls into the end zone. Initially, it was actually called down.
Which really pissed me off.
Yeah, Mike Rabel had to challenge that. Mike was not happy. Mike Rabel probably gets the award for the most aggressive challenge flag throw of all time. Cody Hostler revenge game, 4 targets, 2 catches, 22 yards. Dez Fitzpatrick, a target, a catch, 14 yards. Really nothing to take away here at all. I'm not even going to go through the rest of this box score. Dontrell Hilliard and Deonta Foreman both did have a fumble, but other than that, nothing really to take away from the Titans passing game. Anything you want to talk about, or are we good to move on with that?
I think we're good to move on.
Good. That's what I was hoping you'd say. On the Pat side of the ball, Kendrick Bourne, obviously with the big day with 2 touchdowns, but only had 61 yards, but did have 5 catches on 6 targets. Jacoby Myers, he's really been coming along lately. He's really taken a step forward this year. That's right, 100%. 8 targets, 5 catches, 98 yards. Brandon Bolden, actually 4 catches on 4 targets for 54 yards. Jonnu Smith, revenge game, 4 targets, 3 catches, 49 yards. Hunter Henry could have had a much bigger day. Could have been a touchdown in there. Thanks, Mac. Mike Jones coming at you. 5 targets, 2 catches, 16 yards for Hunter Henry. Nothing really else that really stands out to me looking at this box score. What do you think about this passing game here?
They're spreading the ball a lot, and I love it. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter who you are, where you're at. The ball's going to come at you at some point or another. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if it's to Kendrick Bourne, who had the block on Kendrick Bourne's second touchdown. Jacoby Myers. You know what I mean? Big third down grab. Who was it? Jacoby Myers. You know, or you needed someone to run a great route like Kendrick Bourne. It's just whoever has had to usually has stepped up.
They do spread this ball around, and I think that makes it a little tough for other teams to prepare because they really just get everyone involved. And I was saying this to someone the other day. Obviously, there is no alpha dog wide receiver on this team. There's no alpha male. There's no OBJ. There's no Nuke. At the same time, what do you think that would do to Mac's development? Like, imagine if you had a guy like OBJ come in and be like, I'm demanding 12 targets a game. Like, what do you think that would do for him?
See, I don't want to compare him to other quarterbacks because, like, look at someone like Drew Brees throwing to Michael Thomas. You know what I mean? Like, he always knew where he was or whatever. But that didn't change who Drew Brees was. You know what I mean? That never, like, affected the skill level of quarterback he was.
Right.
I don't know if that would be the best thing for Mac, though. Someone trying to learn the system.
Drew Brees is also a veteran.
Yeah.
So it's okay for a rookie. I guess it's for a rookie wide receiver to come in and be like, I don't want to say it's okay to say throw me the ball because you're a rookie, but Drew Brees is probably going to be a lot more apt to handle that and put him in check than Mac would.
That's true too, yeah.
Like imagine if OBJ comes in, he's like, I want 12 targets, and Mac's like,
that's not going to happen.
Like, yeah, right? Like, that's not happening. Don't know how that would go here.
Yeah.
Something interesting I saw in the snap count, Jonnu Smith was on the field for 34 plays, only ran 12 routes. Why are they using him as a blocking tight end?
I think part of it was that he was on the injury report, but two, I think they're doing it purposely because they want Hunter Henry out there running routes. Mm-hmm. But I'm also not entirely sure if it's because they refuse to play both of them at the same time, or if it's because one's hurt. They're both hurt, actually.
I'm not sure exactly what's going on there because if you look back at when Hernandez was here and Gronk was here, they really liked those two tight end sets, and they got them both involved pretty frequently. That doesn't seem to be the case here.
No.
I don't know what's going on. Maybe Jonnu's just not clicking. No idea, but he's a blocking tight end, and usually you don't want to pay those guys as much money as you're paying Jonnu.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone after this year.
Really? You think he could get cut, traded?
Either or,
I would
say
traded, probably. I don't know.
It's a weird topic because these guys were just signed fresh off free agency.
Yeah.
And Hunter Henry's not the most durable guy. And we don't have depth at that position as well.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I think you'd probably give Jonnu another year before you let him go. I'd be surprised if he was gone after this year. I'd be very surprised.
It's such a disappointment for someone who was supposed to take that leap.
Yeah. Like, I remember when they signed him, I was all excited, super excited. And nothing panned out.
Yeah. And I think it's been further enough in the year that you can kind of like make a fair assumption about his tenure as a Patriot so far.
Yeah.
And it's just been disappointing.
What do you think about the Hunter Henry signing so far?
Love it.
Love it.
Yeah, he's Mac's go-to red zone guy.
As those tight ends are for rookie guys normally, they just seem to like those tight ends for whatever reason. Obviously, again, still bitter about that, Mike. Hunter Henry could have had a much bigger day if Matt could have hit him for that 30-yard touchdown, but I'm not bitter. You're bitter. Getting back in the swing of things here, looking at the rushing side of the ball, Dontrell Hilliard and Deonta Foreman both went over 100 yards. Dontrell Hilliard on 12 carries for 131, a touchdown and a fumble. Deonta Foreman, 19 carries for 109 yards and a fumble. Obviously, JC made a great play out there, forcing that fumble. What do you think about that play by JC?
It's great. He's showing up. He's saying I'm a number one corner and I do everything.
That was such a big play by him too, because the thing is, that was like the point where the game was still close, and this game I really feel like was a lot closer than people are gonna give it credit for. Like, they're gonna look at the box score, they're looking at the final score, and they're gonna say, "Oh, the Pats blew him out." I feel like for a while there, this game had a vibe to it where I don't think the Pats are gonna lose, but the Titans aren't out of this game by any means. Like, you couldn't just check it off, like turn off the TV. I really felt that. And when Deonta Foreman made that run before JC was able to rip that ball out, the Titans had a lot of momentum there.
Yeah.
Like, that was a big run. That was like a 30, 35-yard run by Foreman. That was in Pat's territory, like probably down to the 35, 40-yard line, and JC obviously just ripped all of that out.
Great play.
Obviously, Dontrell Hilliard had the big run right before the end of the half. I don't know why that happened. It shouldn't have happened. I hope it never happens again. What are you taking away from that on that play?
I think Father Time's knocking on Devin McCourty's door.
I think this might be his last year. I wouldn't be surprised he retired after this year.
Yeah. Seems like every year he's kind of like on the fence about it. And they kind of like, they're like, oh, we don't really have an answer at safety.
Yeah.
So can you please come back?
That's the thing. Like, just no one knows what's going on. Like, at the end of the day, I wouldn't be surprised if he came back one more year. I wouldn't be surprised if he retired, but this could very well be his last rodeo. But at the same time, if he wants to come back with year 2 of the Mac Jones experience, I also would not be surprised by any means at all.
I think this year is a good. Going into next year would be, I guess, like a more like reassuring year to be without Devin McCourty. Now that we have Adrian Phillips and Kyle Duggar on the rise, because we didn't really have assurance at that like safety position.
Isn't Phillips a free agent after this year?
I think so.
I thought it was just a 2-year deal he signed.
I think you're right.
So obviously there's that.
There's that. Yeah, I don't know if I don't think it would cost a crap ton of money to bring back. I think that's someone you need to bring back.
Probably
he does
not.
a lot of things. You don't think so?
No, probably wouldn't cost him a lot to bring him back.
Yeah, I think he's a huge piece to the defense.
What do you think about JC here? Do you think he's gone? Do you think he gets the tag?
I think he's probably gone, unfortunately. But he's gonna get the tag, and I think he's not gonna show up to training camp. I'd be rightfully upset. You know what I mean?
You know, I hate the franchise tag. I really wish they would just do away with that.
Yeah,
I'm completely over it.
It just sucks to see someone homegrown, undrafted. You took a chance, and we had every chance to lock him up.
I just don't like the tag because it's like, all right, like chances are if you're getting the tag, you have some sort of value in way, shape, or form. So it's like,
they
all
admit,
right, you ball
yes.
out, you're getting the bag, and that team's like, all right, well, here's the thing. We can't re-sign you. We're not going to re-sign you. So we're just going to make it so you can't sign anywhere else. It's like, I'm not bitter. You're bitter at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's like almost not fair to the player, but
it's not fair at all. Anyway, moving back over to the rushing side of things here. Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson split carries again. Harris with 11 carries for 40 yards. Ramondre with 9 carries for 46 yards. Harris also had a touchdown in there. Was very excited after that touchdown, which don't know why he was because they're up by a lot at that point. Damian Harris outsnapped Ramondre Stevenson 22-20. What do you take away from that? Do you think these two guys are going to continue to split carries the rest of the year?
I think they should. Especially Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson kind of have been beat up. And I think they're starting to feed off each other. Up until that touchdown, actually, Damian Harris wasn't having like the best game.
Right.
But I think they've been, through alternating, they've been picking each other up, and they're a good duo.
Yeah, I mean, you take away that one carry, that 15-yard touchdown run, then Damian Harris has 10 carries for 25 yards.
Yeah, that's
so
awful.
Definitely not the best game from Damian Harris by any way, shape, or form. It's just kind of weird seeing that because Damian Harris was more in like that alpha dog role until he got hurt and missed that game with that concussion. And then obviously Ramondre Stevenson show on Thursday night against the Falcons, but now they're just rotating drives, and I really think that's going to stay that way the rest of the year. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball here, Juwan Bentley led the way for the pass with 10 tackles and a sack, 2 forced fumbles. Kyle Duggar, which we're going to get to in a minute, 9 tackles. Matt Judon, 6 tackles and a sack. Boy, he's looked good. That's a really good signing. Very happy with how that's turned out this year. Devon Godchuk, 7 tackles and a forced fumble. J.C. Jackson, 2 tackles, but also had a pick. Mr. INT himself, a forced fumble and a pass deflection. And then lastly, we had Devin McCourty, who had 5 tackles, but had that big pass deflection in the end zone that led to JC's pick. Anything you want to take away from that?
One, it was shocking to see Bentley up there in the tackle score box.
I was really surprised. When I was putting this together for this game,
never that guy.
I was like, Juwan Bentley really led the way with 10 tackles. Like, I fully expected to be Duggar at the top, and obviously he was up there, but Juwan Bentley, I was like, wow, did not see that one coming by any means at all. Anyway, moving on to the Titans side of the ball here. Really not a ton to take away here. It seems like not too many guys really showed up at all on either side of the ball. But Jayon Brown, 8 tackles and a pass deflection. And then Kevin Byard, who really did not have that great of a game. Obviously, he had that one ball on the left sideline before the end of the half where Jacoby came down with that 40-yard completion. The touchdown from Kendrick Bourne where he got beat. That's actually just kind of a great play by Bourne at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
But Byard had 10 tackles and a sack, and that was actually a really good safety blitz Mike Vrabel drove up there when he came in. Anything you want to take away from that?
That's going to be his forget game.
He's
having a Pro Bowl year.
He did allow 5 catches for 97 yards. Obviously, Byard is a very highly ranked safety, and he really obviously got the bag. So at the end of the day, not too much to take away here from that. I would not be worrying about Kevin Byard too much at all in the secondary because at the end of the day, he is a dog and dogs bark. What else do you want to take away from this game here before we move on and start talking about the Bills game?
I guess it's exciting to see people like Godshaw getting more defensive snaps. But despite that, I would like to see the Patriots run game defensive run game improve, because to allow 2 100-yard rushers just doesn't sit right with me.
That's just not good at all. Like, all right, so
2 of them.
Imagine, I don't even know where to start with this. That really bothers me.
Yeah.
Like, imagine a world where you say, okay, like the team doesn't matter, but you have no AJ Brown, no Julio Jones, and no Derrick Henry, and you give up 2 100-yard rushing bids to these clowns
From the practice squad.
like literally guys like.
Kudos to them for stepping up, but like, it's just like, as a Patriots fan, it's disappointing to see them allow that.
Like, I'm thinking, like, what happens if Derrick Henry is in that game? He probably has like 250 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't even want to.
The thing is, that's not even out of the realm of possibility.
No.
But also you probably game plan a little bit differently.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, obviously we can sit here and say that, but I'm sure, obviously it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that Derrick Henry wasn't going to play in this game as long as you have eyes and have looked at an injury report within the last month. But I feel like Bill would have drawn up a little bit of a different game plan if that were the case.
Yeah, I don't think Bentley would have been the leading tackler.
The thing I'm thinking of here is kind of moving on to the Titans in general. I'm like, where does this team go exactly? So you had some really great wins in there. You get a big win against Seattle. Obviously, you beat Indianapolis at home. You take a really ugly loss to the Jets. Mm-hmm. You beat the Bills on Monday night, which Josh Allen probably walks into the end zone if he doesn't, again, just try to get down the second he takes that snap for whatever reason. He ended up slipping. Big win against Kansas City. I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on Kansas City, but that's beside the point. Go into Indianapolis and win a really wild game where Carson Wentz is in the end zone and literally just throw the ball up for grabs. But that was an insane play. I'm not bitter. You're bitter. Besides the point. Go into LA and beat the Rams, beat the Saints, and then you take 2 losses here to Houston and the Pats. And obviously, you can make an argument, even if they were healthy, they wouldn't have beaten the Pats anyway. But you're sitting here at 8-4. Derrick Henry, I feel like Rick Pitino right now. Derrick Henry's not walking through that door, fellas. And I mean, maybe he will eventually at the end of the year, assuming everything goes according to plan. That'd be nice for them. AJ Brown obviously is going to miss another couple of weeks. You got the bye this week. Where did you go if you're the Titans here? Because you got Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, San Francisco, Miami, and Houston the rest of the way. Definitely not the hardest schedule by any stretch of the imagination. What do you make of the Titans the rest of the year?
I think they'll be fine.
You think they'll be fine?
I think they'll win at least 10, 11 games.
I mean, I hope so. Hopefully, you're looking at this. You hope
they're a good team.
You think worst case scenario, as long as they show up, they beat Jacksonville, Miami, and Houston. You'd hope that, like, worst case scenario, you find a way to get that done.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to want to beat Houston after laying that egg a couple of weeks ago, but I think you got to find a way to win those 3 games. Go 11-7, and I think that's got to be your worst case scenario. If you drop one of those games and you drop one of the other 2 or both to Pittsburgh and San Francisco, you're in a little bit of trouble. Obviously, they're probably still going to get in the playoffs regardless because they did have an 8-2 record before everyone just decided to die. But at the end of the day, you got to keep on keeping on and find a way to get it done. All right, now that we've concluded that segment, we're going to move on here and kind of give some thoughts on the Bills game coming up. Spread is at 2.5 in favor of the Bills. Over-under is at 44.5. Practice report for the week as of Friday. We got Brendan Bolden, Gunnar Olszewski, Trent Brown, David Andrews, Christian Barmore, Dante Hightower, who actually left that last game with an eye injury. That was really weird. Jawan Bentley and Nick Full, all limited in practice. I really don't have too many concerns about anyone on this injury report. I think it's mainly, obviously you got the bye coming up soon. You're like, let's just get to the bye, little precautionary. I think that's the smart way to do it. Anything from you on that end?
No.
Perfect. Bills injury report, Emmanuel Sanders did not play. Apparently load management is now a thing in the NFL. Reggie Gilliam, the fullback, missed practice. No, I'm sorry. He was limited in practice with an ankle injury. Starlot, illness, non-COVID related, I'm guessing, or else he'd probably be out for this game. And Matt Milano was limited with the shoulder injury. 2 things I forgot to mention on the Patriots side of the ball on that injury report. J.J. Taylor and Kyle Duggar, both on the COVID list. Obviously, J.J. Taylor, not that big of a loss. Duggar, you'd probably really like to have in this game. No idea on his vaccination status, so we really don't know if he's going to play or not. I'm assuming he's not going to play because even those guys you see get COVID, they really don't play. They usually miss at least 1 week. Like
Yeah.
everyone you can think of has missed about a week, probably because they're sick and it's just tough for them to play. How big of a loss is Duggar in this one?
I think huge, honestly.
Why do you think that?
I think he's become a staple to that Patriots defense. Every week he makes a play.
He's really come along,
Every
especially
week.
like the last month or so. Like he's really come into his own. Like he just seems, he's almost got like, I don't want to say that J.C. Jackson feel, but kind of like that nose to the ball feel. Like he just knows exactly where to be. So obviously that's going to be kind of tough playing without him, but I guess we're going to just see what happens at the end of the day. Bills came off a win on Thanksgiving, 31-6 over the Saints, but they had a really, really big loss.
Yeah, Tre'Davious
White, T-Dub out for the season, torn ACL. Obviously, Dane Jackson took over for him, the 7th-round pick from Pitt. Played 46 snaps in that win against the Saints. Only played 18% of defensive snaps on the season. 47.3 PFF grade in coverage in that game against the Saints. Do you think the Pats go at him here?
Absolutely.
Like from the jump, they just go right at him.
I'm going after him all game.
I don't blame him. I mean, why not? Obviously, you go from Tre'Davious White to this guy. Why would you not go at him 20 times? That's
Now
a lot.
imagine if Milano's out.
Imagine if Milano's out. That's an even bigger loss. I don't think he's going to miss.
You can't.
This is too big of a game to miss for like nagging
Fingers
injuries
crossed,
like
but-
that. Yeah, that'd be cool, but obviously they've gotten a little lucky. No Derrick Henry, no Nick Chubb. No way Matt Milano is not going
like
to
every
play
week
in
we
this
get a
game.
break.
I know, right? That's what I mean. Everyone's like all fired up about Mac Jones. Oh, he's the next big thing. Everyone's comparing his stats to Brady. Listen, clowns, if I had $1 for every single quarterback that put up the same exact stats that Brady put up in his first year as a scholar, I would have a lot of dollar bills at the end of the day because those stats are not anything that no one's seen before. But hey,
They're not spectacular.
for some reason in Patriot Nation, everyone thinks that because he's matched Brady's stats through the first whatever week we're in, 13 weeks or so, he's a god. He's the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. Anywho, moving on here. This is a game where I see a couple of interesting things happening. I could see this coming down to the Pats' red zone defense versus the Bills' red zone offense. What do you think about that?
I don't know if I feel great about it, to be honest.
Why?
I mean, it's the red zone. You know what I
Obviously.
mean? It's Josh Allen is a weapon in himself, and they have multiple rush attack weapons. And just the way they use Stephon Diggs, I don't know. It's not something I'm very confident in. I think we can stop them, just not consistently.
I think that's honestly what it's going to come down to. That and really, honestly, I feel like this is going to be just like a ground and pound, really, really.
Like a time of possession type
like
game.
a time of possession type of game. Like I don't see this game. I'd actually, if I were a betting man, I'd probably bet the under in this one at 44.5. I could definitely see this being like a 2017 ball game or something like that, 2013. I really think that this game is really going to be really dominated by the running backs, I feel. At the end of the day, obviously Josh Allen will make plays with his leg when necessary, and Mac's going to make throws when necessary, check down king. But at the end of the day, I don't see this being a super high-scoring affair. It's in Buffalo. It's going to be cold. I think the Pats really need to keep Josh Allen off balance here and
Absolutely.
obviously you can't give the same look that you gave Brady in that Week 4 game, but I think you got to almost keep same kind of schemes, throwing a lot of different defenses at him. You can't obviously just stick with the same one.
We're gonna need
throughout
a
the entire
spy.
game. Yeah,
That's someone we didn't need for the Bucks game.
yeah, for really,
I don't really
any
think
of
we
these
have a
games, to be
spy.
honest. I don't even know who would be the spy.
Probably Van Noy, I would say. He's
Probably.
been playing great this year.
He actually got hurt in that last game too,
Yep.
but he only missed a play, so nothing there. The one thing I really want to look at: can Mac win a game? I know we talked about it a little before. Can Mac
win a game?
Can he? All right, so he had the chance against the Dolphins Week 1. Obviously, that's not his fault. Damian Harris, Allah, I'm not bitter. You're bitter. Thanks a lot. You got the chance against the Bucks again. Not really his fault. You're in the rain. All right, you're playing against the greatest quarterback of all time. Obviously, that secondary, the Bucks, is really depleted. That front seven obviously is pretty legit. I think we can both agree on. But you put him in a position to win with a 56-yard field goal. Obviously, that field goal is probably good from 54 at the end of the day. But he really hasn't had to go down and win you a game and saying, all right, 2 minutes to go, we need to score. He had the chance against the Cowboys, didn't get it done again. But can this may come down to, all right, 2017, a minute and a half to go in a timeout. Like, go get him, killer. What do you think?
I believe.
Do you think he can get the job done?
He's low-key kind of done it here and there.
When?
I think he's made plays. Remember on the Cowboys game? He's passed to Kendrick Bourne.
Oh, he's definitely made plays when had to make them, but he hasn't
actually pulled off a 2-minute.
That's what I mean. He hasn't
drill.
done the dirty work, like the actual dirty work. He's shown some flashes. Nope. I'll give you that, but definitely has not come down the field.
But I think he can. I think if he has a chance and at his next opportunity, I think he's going to do it.
This is going to be the biggest game in his career, I really feel like. Obviously, this is really, if you look at the schedule so far, this is truly his first hostile environment that he's played in.
It's a pretty hostile one.
Like, obviously, at New York, okay, not really that hostile. At Houston, okay, do they even have fans? At the Chargers, they use the silent count at home. At Carolina, small market. At Atlanta. And then at Buffalo, this is going to be a very hostile environment. It's going to be loud. It's going to be cold.
First in-stadium game since COVID.
I am really interested to see how he functions in this one, to be perfectly honest, because he's been cruising the last month and a half, but, Buffalo's not the easiest place to play, especially now that the Bills are good.
Yeah, that team's no joke.
Yeah.
And kudos to them and their fan base.
Absolutely. Josh Allen, he's shown some flashes that he could be the MVP, and he's shown some flashes that he should be sitting behind Josh Rosen.
I feel like that MVP talk's kind of like died down a little bit.
Yeah.
He's still up there.
I think it's kind of carrying over from last year a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think he's only up there because like teams like, the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes hasn't looked his normal self. Obviously, I wouldn't say he's a shell of his former self by any means, but he definitely wasn't looking like the MVP candidate we've seen over the last 3 years. Obviously, the Seahawks and Russell Wilson are down. The Ravens are a little bit of a mess with all those injuries that they've had. I think it's almost like he's in the conversation by default.
Yeah.
In a way. Like, I think that's the best way to put it.
I agree. Because he's so pivotal and such a big piece to his team,
right,
and them winning.
Yeah. So I honestly don't know what he's going to do in this one, because this is a big game for him as well. Obviously, it helps that he's playing at home.
It's a scary person to face,
but
he's a weapon.
Yeah, right. He is a stud inside of a stud at the end of the day. Anything else you want to take away from that QB matchup?
I'm excited. Let's go.
All right. Last thing I really want to bring up here before we get out of here. So, Stephon Diggs, game 1 against the Pats last year, 6 receptions for 92 yards. Game 2, obviously, remember that one. 9 receptions, 145 yards, 3 tutties. Does this onslaught continue from Stephon Diggs?
I wouldn't be surprised. He cooked J.C. Jackson last time.
I just don't know where you go to stop him. How do you stop him? Like, did you see that route he ran on Thanksgiving against Marshawn Lattimore?
Yeah, that is filthy.
Cook. Ease.
Yeah, that was
hyphenated.
disgustingly good.
Cook. Ease. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know how you stop that. But then again, how many coaches are going to match up Stephon Diggs one-on-one in the red zone?
Not many, because not a lot of people have number 1 corners like Lattimore. You know what I mean? But
that's what I mean.
It's not many.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Final prediction for the game? What is your final score?
I think I'm going to go something along the lines of maybe 24 or 20-17.
In favor of the Pats?
In favor of the Pats.
I'm actually taking the Bills in this one. I think Matt gets a little bit rattled. I don't think he's going to be ready for that hostile environment. I'm actually going to go 2017 Bills. I think the Bills cover, but I'm also taking the under in this one. But it's going to be interesting. I could definitely be wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. But at the end of the day, who knows? The only thing that can make up for the Pats not playing on Sunday is when they play on Monday night. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this one. We'll be back to recap the game next week. Like and subscribe as always, and I will have a new banner that's not the Potato Finance Podcast banner relatively soon, and we will see you guys in the next one.